Hey, we're here today with Selling Smart in San Antonio, my channel devoted to help you get your home ready to sell for the top dollar in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of hassle possible. So as part of that, my teammate here, Nick Sabino with Big 2014, does inspections for a lot of my clients. And we're gonna talk about things you could do as a seller to be prepared, because you're gonna have an inspection somewhere in the process, almost certainly. So why not be ready for it? So Nick, I appreciate you coming out. Let's talk about the big five.
Absolutely. So we got foundation, roofing, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC.
Yeah, I like to call them the big ticket items. Yep. So those are things we can prepare for. The reason to do this, the benefit to you, is if you have your house ready in advance, you're not having to get estimates, you're not under stress, you're not under a contract. We can prepare upfront and your house will look sharp, be sharp, and sell for the top dollar. Hey Nick, we're on the outside of the house looking at the HVAC system. So what are we seeing here in this case?
Absolutely. So what we're looking for, we're gonna wanna check the age of these units just to see if they're gonna be near the end of their lifespan. Then once we get in the house, we're gonna fire them up. We're gonna make sure that they're working, that there's no leaking under the air handler unit, and that we do get a good temperature differential in the system.
Fantastic. Now, is there a way on the unit, is there some kind of coating where you can see the year built?
Absolutely. So on the manufacturer's label, usually on the back of the unit, you can always tell the year of manufacture through the serial number. Every serial number is coded in a specific way where you can always tell what year the unit was manufactured.
Great. Well, let's go inside and take a look at the inside unit. Why are we looking at the attic steps?
So what we see, something that's very common in Texas, is that our air handler or our furnace unit of the HVAC system is up in the attic. So this is our air handler, our furnace unit for this HVAC system. Again, we're gonna check the year of manufacture. We're also gonna make sure that our exhaust flues, our gas lines, and our drain pans are all properly installed to prevent leaking into the structure of the home.
Thanks for the tour. By the way, I highly encourage a pre-listing inspection so you know these problems. But if you looked at a unit like this, what are some steps a seller could take to be ready to get on the market?
So the biggest step to take with your heating and cooling systems is having regular maintenance. Having professionals come out, especially with an older system, give it a full once over and a look over just to make sure that everything is still in line and the system is still functioning up to its current standards.
Great. So would you suggest a pre-listing cleaning and service of the unit prior to going on the market?
Absolutely.
Another major system is obviously the foundation. That can involve tens of thousands of dollars potentially. So when you have a house with a little bit of age, you see an issue like this, is that something a seller should be concerned about first? And secondly, would they do anything about it to get ready for the market?
Typically, no. Something like this is going to be relatively superficial and quite honestly, more than likely just cosmetic. So something like this we would notate,
right,
but we wouldn't really make it a major concern.
Okay.
So things like this would actually probably be left alone.
Okay.
Pre-listing, we're going to be looking for more major, wider, thicker cracks in the foundation to denote any structural movement in the home.
So probably if this was the most significant issue on this house, would you say the foundation is probably functioning as intended?
Absolutely.
Good, and that's the standard, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, Nick, we've talked about a couple big systems. HVAC, we've talked about the foundation. Another big ticket item, the roof. So what would you recommend a seller consider when they're getting ready to list their home?
When we look at the roof, the big thing we're going to look at is the roof intact. So have any shingles blown off in a windstorm or a hailstorm? We'll also check around things like, are there trees touching the roof covering surface that are going to wear down the shingles? Is everything installed properly? Are the gutters functioning properly? Is the roof covering functioning the way that it's intended to?
It sounds like you would recommend having any shingles replaced,
correct,
trimming back trees, cleaning gutters. I'm assuming that makes the inspection report cleaner when it comes time for that buyer to send their inspector back through the property.
100%. The less items that we can notate, the cleaner that report is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's part of the goal, is to shrink the list and build confidence with the buyer. Now we're talking about electrical. That's another big system in the house. When you're inspecting a home, what are you looking for when you go to the electrical panel, both outside and inside?
So big things that we're looking for is, what does the wiring in this panel look like? Is everything wired properly? Nothing is double tapped in there. There's no aluminum wiring in the branch circuit system. What type of service we have, and we make sure that everything, A, is functional, B, there are no safety hazards within the system.
Nick, I think I've seen with enough experience, a lot of times this cleanup where an electrician comes out and just puts everything on the right posts, etc., is just a few $100s to make your electrical system look good. Is that fair to say?
That would be fair to say, yes.
And then I got one more question. What happened to our lizard friends here? It looks like they had a bad day.
Yeah, they either got themselves into the system and got themselves electrocuted, or they got trapped and ran out of water.
Yeah, so be careful. Electrical's serious. All right, Nick, the last big system we're going to talk about is water in general, and specifically the water heater as well.
Sure.
So what are some important tips that a homeowner should know in getting ready for the market when it comes to plumbing?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing that we're going to look for is making sure that we don't have any leaking underneath any of the sinks, behind any of the tubs, or in the showers. Okay. Obviously, that's going to be your biggest ticket item. Then we're also going to do a mechanical, visual, and operational inspection of that water heater to make sure that it is still functioning the way that it is supposed to as well.
Okay, talk to me about, I hear a lot about drain pans with water heaters. Sort of what's the deal? Because sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not.
So anytime that the water heater shares a wall with a livable space, it should have a drain pan underneath it, just in case, obviously. So if it's in an area like an unconditioned garage or anything like that, then it wouldn't necessarily need one. But really any other area of the home, whether it's in a laundry room or an attic, that drain pan should be there.
That's great. And what is kind of the general expected age of a water heater here in San Antonio?
Usually the expected age we say is about 12 to 15 years. We do make notation, however, if anytime that they're older than 10.
Great job of covering the 5 major systems: plumbing, electrical, roof, foundation, HVAC, big ticket items. What other general tips could a seller take in mind, little preventative steps of sort of more of the smaller items, maybe even cosmetic, that would get their house in tip-top shape to get on the market and sell smartly?
Yeah, for sure. So making sure that any cracks in the walls are filled, or in the flooring, any cracked tiles, anything like that. Making sure the home is decluttered and accessible for the inspector to get to everything that there is. Any other items like broken or non-functional windows or doors, just little items that can be taken care of.
You mentioned an important topic, settling or cracks. Is that common in San Antonio?
For sure. It's common pretty much anywhere. Houses are going to settle. So if you have ceramic stone tiles, there's likely going to be a few cracks. And the same thing that we talked about with the foundation, like unless those cracks are really large scale, they run through multiple tiles, or they're really wide, we're not going to make a big, huge deal out of it. We're going to note that it's due to settling.
So if I see a little crack on my sheetrock, I'm not supposed to freak out, right?
Correct.
Cool. Well, I hope this has all been great information. It's all about doing the preparation. My experience is that the more work you do up front as a seller, it's work, it's challenging, but the selling process is easier. You get more offers, you get more showings, and you get top dollar. So I highly recommend get in touch with my friend Nick here at Big 24 team. Have a pre-listing inspection. You're going to spend a few $100. It could save you tens of thousands of dollars in the long run. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you. Hey, that's our topic for today, pre-listing inspections, so you're ready to sell smart in San Antonio. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe.